Hey friend, welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. I'm Gabby Flater, a faith-led wife, mom of 3, certified nutrition consultant, personal trainer, and passionate about changing lives. I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. You want to be motivated to prioritize your well-being and wish you were more educated when it comes to cultivating a healthy home. Maybe you're a mom who's completely burnt out and needs a fresh perspective on life, or you're searching for a place to feel seen, heard, and encouraged in a godly manner. No matter if you're doing the dishes, getting your sweat on, or drinking reheated coffee while watching the kids play, there is always an opportunity for growth. If you are ready to finally take action about these desires and are ready to learn, grow, and transform your mind, then you are in the right place. It's time to establish deeper roots so you can enjoy a more fruitful and fulfilling harvest. Let's dig in. Hey friends, welcome back to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. My name is Gabby and welcome to another episode this week. I thought it would be kind of neat. I got to start jotting down some ideas, but what if we started each episode or like introing into the episodes with like a little health tip for the week or something that like I gained from, I don't know, a podcast or a book or something that I listened to, and just give you a little golden nugget to take into the week. And so as I was sitting here thinking about it, because I just literally thought of it 2 minutes before I hit record, I was like, what can I touch on before we get into today's topic? And I was like, I should do like just a little health nugget, or I'll have to think of like a fun term. So if you have any ideas, shoot it my way. But for now, we'll just call it like a health tip of the week. And I was recently chatting with a new training client of mine, and with working out and all of the new things, recovery is just as important as the time that you're working. And, I always like make sure that you're stretching a little bit, that you're hydrating, getting electrolytes, that you're getting, sufficient rest, and that you are getting enough protein. And she's like, I feel like I never can eat enough. I don't even know how much I'm supposed to eat. I don't get enough. And I feel like that is definitely something that is not always forefront of people's minds or top priority when it comes to building your plate or your meal or choosing what you're going to eat or what you're buying at the store. And it is for me, because I have learned to rewire my brain to be like, where is the protein? Where's the protein here? And what am I starting my day with? And so just a call to action, really good general rule of thumb would be to shoot for the lowest end would be between 90 to 100 grams of protein, but it would be 0.7 grams per pound of body weight to 1 gram per pound of body weight. And so if you weigh, say, 135 pounds, like 0.7 grams of protein would be around 94, 95 grams, all the way up to 1 gram per pound would be 135. So give yourself that range of, 95 to 135. That's a huge range. Obviously, the more protein, the more repair you're going to have in your muscles, the more satiation, you're going to be less prone to cravings, and you're going to just feel more satisfied and just gain a whole slew of just really good health and all the benefits from that. And so just, wanted to call to action that, and always trying to sneak in. If you know that you eat for sure 3 meals a day, divide it out. We've talked about this on prior episodes. Definitely one of them for sure. It's probably my macro one. So if you scroll back and you want to dive more into that, you can find that episode earlier on in the show. And we talk about protein and easy foods that you can implement, and ways to divide it out in your day, tracking it for a while. I don't track it as much anymore. It's more mental tracking, but you can use an app. There's no shame in that. You definitely have to start somewhere, and that is how I rewired a lot of my thinking, my habits, and my pattern around food and how I was building my plates. Is it perfect every time? No, yeah, absolutely not. I'm not a slave to it, but it's always the forefront. When you start your day off with some solid protein, and you get a big whopping chunk of it in, you would be amazed at how satisfied you will feel till your next time to eat is. You may not even have that like snacky feeling. And if you do, grab something to drink. Make an electrolyte drink, coffee, whatever, tea, just some water, or, water with, or like a LaCroix. Like, just give yourself something until your next meal comes around, because you're going to load up on protein in that meal. So it's all about getting that protein in that's really just going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Don't waste your money on, even things that are like high protein. Like if it's high protein, it better be having 15, 20 grams of protein in a serving. We're not talking 5, 6, 8 grams, guys. Like, don't fall for those snacks, those bars that do that. You really want to make sure that you're loading up on the best, give yourself the most protein for the best calorie amount. Don't focus on the calories, but don't think eating, a 300 gram snack, 200, 300 grams snack bag of something that says it's a protein snack, but it only gives you like 10 grams. Like, oh my gosh, no, that is not enough protein. So really just, I love even just grabbing a grass-fed beef stick and a cheese stick, and I just chomp those down right away. Like the beef stick has 8 or 9 grams in it, and the cheese has 6 to 8. Right there is 15 grams of protein. And so it's not hard. We think it's hard. We keep telling ourselves it's hard, and then it will be hard. So my call to action for you this week is just to really pay attention to your protein intake. Track it for a few weeks if you have to, in order to see where you're at and then see where you want to be. So 0.7 to 0.1 grams per pound of body weight is a good general rule of thumb to follow. So that is my health tip for the week. And yeah, I guess I better start thinking of some more things and maybe just, remember to jot things down as I learn them along the way. But another really exciting thing that I wanted to catch you guys up on, I'm still pregnant. So no baby yet. That'll be super exciting news. But I finished my pre-postnatal fitness certification course. So exciting. Even though I'm not working in person with that population currently, which is fine. I love the knowledge. I love learning. I love gaining the awareness around, all things health, fitness, wellness related. So just to add to my resource bank, my knowledge bank, so that I can better serve you guys. And it just confirmed a lot of things that I myself have experienced personally and currently personally, as I am 39 weeks pregnant. So just super excited. I needed to renew my certification for my personal training this year. So I've got that under my belt. So grateful to have that done before June hit. And we'll see, what comes down the road as you dive more into that. Just continue to feed my mind, all of those helpful things when it comes to women's health and bodies and recovery. And, I'm going to have a whole postpartum journey recovery again. 4th time around. It really blows my mind, the fact that I've had 4 children before I'm 30. I mean, Lord willing, this baby comes before I'm 30, guys. My technical guest date is the 16th. My birthday is the 29th of March. My daughter came 2 weeks late, my last baby. She came 2 weeks past her due date. I don't think that's going to happen with this one. This baby's I feel like she's ready to come. But I would love to just have my birthday and turn 30 and enjoy it, not pregnant. and be on the other side. But that would be wild. That would be a wild ride. So, yeah. So four children. I don't know what it's like to go through labor and postpartum, say in mid 30s, late 30s. I know some women that have had, including my mom and mother-in-law, who have had children into their very early 40s, 40 to 43. Man, no thanks. Not my cup of tea, unless that's what God wants, but that's not our plan. We'll just say that's not our plan. And so, yeah, just like knowing all the things that come, like I'm excited for my 30s, but like I know that once you hit 30, like muscle starts to decline. Like if you don't stay on top of your health, it's crazy. A lot of stuff just starts to take a back turn. So I'm actually reading a new book, which probably will give me some great health tips to share. Dr. Mark Hyman, he gives great perspectives on both. He's a doctor, but he's also an integrative doctor. So like he knows both the medical realm, he knows how to read all that stuff. He's been a part of all that. He's had his own health problems and journey, but he's also like so knowledgeable in the integrative, holistic, natural. So his podcast is The Doctor's Pharmacy. So instead of pharmacy with PH, it's a F, like farm with cows and pigs and stuff, if I had to explain that. So I just love his approach. So I'm reading Young Forever or something like that. I think that's what it's called, but it's just about longevity and how to really capitalize on, adding years to your life. There's a difference between like your biological age and like your physical age. Like you can, or whatever the term is, I don't remember. But I literally just started, like I read the first chapter and the intro, but super excited to dive into that. And again, here at Rooted in Health, I'll beat it to death. We are here for the long run, right? We are here for our health and our wellness for the long run, not short-term fixes, not quick fixes. You have to take things into the whole picture. So as I've been even thinking about my postpartum and all my recovery, how I want to approach coming back into fitness and some of the things that I'll be able to implement. I'll still be breastfeeding, so like I still can't do like certain detox type things and kind of reset, but I do look forward to, if we're thinking this is the last one, just like kind of, but even the in-between time, just like what can I do differently to like approach my health in new ways? Like what is health for me now? Moving forward, like what would it look like to work out at different times of the day and give myself more sleep? But, being a mom, I'm like, okay, but how do I do that? And, so it's, it's just different. So, just have had some things running through my mind of how to really capitalize on better hormone health. And, do I actually have to work out as long but I tend to work out because I just really do love it, and it can be an escape for me, and it's a source of enjoyment. So with that all being said, let's dive into today's episode. It's going to be kind of, it's just more of a tribute, and it is what it's going to be what it's going to be. It's nothing that's, I'm not going to say I hope it adds value. I know it will add value, but it's also a personal thing for me to come here in this space and share and give tribute to a friend of mine, my best friend of 4.5 years, who passed away in March of 2020. And this episode actually is airing on her 3-year anniversary of going to heaven. So I'm sitting here drinking my coffee. We loved bonding over coffee. Like if we could snag a cup after a workout before I had to get home to the kids, or like swing over for a quick cup before she had to leave to go train a client, and I stayed at her house to finish it and whatever, like we would. We really bonded over that, and it's actually in a very special mug. that has a picture. Well, it's just the picture of the back. It's not like literally us, but it made it look like us. So I picked a person that looked like her, and the back of the hair is long and blonde, and mine is brown, up in a bun. And she always liked wearing black jeans. So I have her in black jeans with a jacket that says Big Sis, and then here I am on the other side with jeans that says Little Sis, Sandi and Gabs. And then on the other side it says, a sister is God's way of making sure we never walk alone. And I had seen this when she was going through her cancer, short and abrupt cancer journey, from January 9th, from the diagnosis to March 13th was her fight, and in 2020, and I saw this and I bought it, and she never got to use it. I brought it to the hospital, and then I was given it back. So this is one of my favorite mugs, so I thought, why not choose that? Choose that here. So I thought, what better fitting way for this episode just to be a tribute and pay honor, and share a little bit of our story, who Sandi was, and the impact she had on my life, and just sharing what friendship, like, I really hope that you all could find a friend that you can create such a rich relationship with, where it actually doesn't feel like a friendship anymore. And gosh darn it, I'm going to do my best to not cry. I could think about my dad, who passed away when I was 8. That was 21 years ago, almost 22. And it doesn't really make me cry, but 3 years here coming up, or 3 years being today, definitely still hits hard. But she left a mark in my life that I don't think will ever be erased. It's crazy to think that a friendship could have blossomed into such a relationship that felt like family and ended up literally becoming family. That's just the nature that it became. And I'm the oldest of 6, so I didn't really have an older sibling, but also she was far ahead of me. She died at 43. Like, we hung out. Like, we were best friends, but I was like a million years younger. But I like to think that I made her feel younger. But man, did she have a love for life and so much energy and so much passion, and like literally just like we were the same. And you could ask her husband and you could ask my husband, and they would both tell you we were inseparable. Her husband would tell you that I was at their house more than he was. And it was true. It's wild. And she really only got to know me as a mom with Winston. Titus was born in June of 2019, so she knew him for about 6 months. And the beginning of our journey with him and his bleeding disorder and stuff. So adding kids in there, it just made it harder to come over all the time, or we would have like a pack. Literally, we would have a pack and play. She was like, we'll just make this the baby room. And she like moved things out of the way. And it's not like she had a house that was meant, they didn't have children. They had greyhounds. So, it was just so sweet. Like, we had toys and a saucer, and, so we could work. And we had a pack and play, so we could do nap time and things like that. And like literally, it was like she was the second mom. It was super funny. And during tax season, for sure, when my husband is, working crazy hours, she was someone that I spent a lot of time with and helped me along. Especially, it was super helpful having her after I had my first Winston in January, because tax season is, it kind of ramps up in January, but then it heads through February, March, and into April, mid-April. So having her was super, super helpful when my husband was not available as much. But yes, so I I didn't have a sibling close in age to me. My biological sister, we're 7 years apart. I'm the oldest. They are family. I love them to death. We bend over backwards for them, all the things. But it's just crazy to see how a friendship could become so much more in such a short amount of time. Like, I don't understand it, and it blows my mind to think about it. And it's hard to think about it these days because then it just hurts. Because I don't necessarily want to, I don't want to seek it out again. At least right now, I have so many great friends. It's incredible. I have such great communities in different areas of my life, and I apologize for the sniffling or, crying voice. But I'm not sure that I'm willing to create such the bond that we had because of fear of being hurt again, in that way of unexpected loss. Also, I'm not interested in recreating something because I know it can't be recreated or replicated, and that's not the goal. So, like I said, I have some pretty incredible relationships and friendships with other people in different circles and outlets that I'm a part of, and I am grateful for each and every one of them. It's not to discount that, but literally, this is the friendship that I've never experienced before, and maybe God has a reason for it, or it was kind of a one and done thing, or whatever. But I know the impact that she left on my life, and that is my whole goal, is to leave that same impact. She was that person for me. Maybe I'm supposed to be that person for somebody else, and I have to be open to that. So whatever that's going to look like down the road, I don't know. But yeah, our friendship was one where we could spend the morning and afternoon together, and then be Marco Poloing back and forth all evening with either my kid, or fun things with him, or business ideas, or just random things. I mean, seriously, I have an insane amount of Marco Polos. I don't know if you've ever used that app. It's like a video chatting thing. So you don't have to be present for someone to record a video of them talking to you about something or showing you something. It's like walkie-talkie, but like video style. And so like we could respond at different times. Or you could be watching it live. So anyway, I have an insane amount of those, and I didn't realize it until after she passed. And, I look for all the memories and things I can hang on to. Yeah, I could scroll back to like the year we started it. I don't even know when that was, 2017, 2016. So we met in December of 2015, and she passed in January of 2020. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I'm super grateful to have those videos. It's just sometimes really hard to hear her voice or see her face when I choose to engage in them. So this time of the year is just really hard. Typically the January, February, March, but for sure the end of February into March, because it's wild to think that we had no idea. You hit March and she had literally 2 weeks to live. Nobody knew. We didn't really, it's not like we were told and had a specific time. But things just started to slowly degrade and decline, and just super grateful for the opportunity to be there and be present before the entire world went crazy and shut down because of the pandemic. Literally my son had his port put in, all of that February 25th. I was in the hospital for like 3-4 days with him, all normal, and then right into, many visits with Sandi and trying to get to the hospital and visit, and then her with hospice towards the end, a couple days, and not having to worry about, this is just when the word was being thrown around on the news or in in the media or whatever, in conversations you hear, and it was like, what is that? What is COVID? What's this virus? And literally she passed on that Friday, the 13th, and Monday, the whole world just like, yeah, you all know. I mean, you lived it too. It's wild. And we would not have all been able to be there. She has a large family of brothers and sisters. She has nieces and nephews that they adored and loved. They didn't have children of their own. But they were amazing aunties and uncles, and they were my kids' aunties and uncles, and we still refer to them as that. Or she was my kid's aunt, and her husband is still a part of our life. But just really grateful that we had that opportunity to be there through it all to the end, and bond and connect, and not have to have limitations and all of that placed on us. So God was definitely in that situation, I feel like, and couldn't have lined any of that up, I guess, better. Not that we wished any of it, but man. And then I think of, what did he spare? I mean, he spared Sandi of all of that hullabaloo. And I don't even like to think of the what ifs. I don't really want to. I don't know what it would have looked like for her to go through her cancer journey alongside having this pandemic life going on around her, how she would have handled it, approached it, how we would have been able to support her, what that would have looked like. So not really sure. I failed to mention, she had been diagnosed. So in 2019, she just on and off, it was like the whole year, just like random, like she would not be hungry sometime, when it's like, girl, we're foodies. Like, this is like towards the second half of 2019. It's like, what do you mean you're not hungry? Or, like she's full, or she doesn't know what she wants to eat. And then she's like, what, I feel like fatty, like a high fat diet it's not good for me. So I'm just like going to limit that. And like her stomach just didn't feel good. And then she would have like pains. She would wake up in the middle of the night and pain and all these things. And then she was seeing a natural doctor and trying to figure out some things, was taking some tinctures, thought it was like a copper toxicity thing. I don't know. So obviously none of that. It was stage 4 aggressive pancreatic cancer by the time we found out. And that is like the worst of the worst cancers. I don't know how someone like her had that, how long it manifests, when does stage 1 happen, because it actually just doesn't go, it goes undetected until when it's detected. It's most of the time too late. Not always. But this time that was the case. And it just makes me wonder if she had it for years since I knew her. I mean, I knew her for like 4.5 years. Did she have it then? I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish she knew. Because we would have tackled that head on. We would have done that when it was more manageable. But it just was insane how quick it took over. And then the chemo and everything. So, stage 4 aggressive pancreatic cancer is what she was diagnosed with. And yeah. So backing up, I don't want to make this episode insanely long or anything, but so we had met, and I've shared this before a little bit. I know I shared it on a recent episode talking about, a leap of faith I took with her in our business, but we met through a running group, Badgerland Striders, and I could go back into that Facebook group and literally search and find the post that we connected on. She was looking for a running, or I don't know if she posted it or what, and I commented. I think that was it. Like, hey, I think she was in a training run for marathon or whatever, but looking for a runner to meet up this park or whatever. I'm around this pace. Let me know if you're interested, blah, blah, blah. And when you're in that kind of a group and you're in the general location and stuff, I mean, it's not like odd to meet up with runners. And I mean, that's just what runners do. And then I guess they just become your best friends, right? Runners, I mean, it's just, if you're not a runner, and you don't have that community, it's something that maybe you don't understand. But in other ways, maybe you have community that it just doesn't seem odd for someone to be like, hey, let me know if you're around that pace and you want to meet up. It doesn't feel like a stranger. We'll just put it that way. So I was like, hey, yeah, like I'm free on Saturday or whatever day it was, and yeah, I'm around that pace and would love to meet up and run. Well, I ended up getting a running injury, and I messaged her. I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I hurt my IT band. I think I was training for, what was I training for? I don't think I was training for anything, but I don't know. I was running with people and a lot of miles, and I think it was a little bit slower pace than I normally run, and just injured my IT band. And she was like, oh no, well, hey, my husband is a physical therapist. Why don't you just come on over and he can show you some exercises and moves and whatnot. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. So then here I am telling my husband, like, okay, so he doesn't work on Fridays. She works for, like, she's her own boss. So I'm going over there, and it was like on a Friday morning or afternoon, to their house, and they're going to help me, and I've never met them, so I'll text you when I get there. I'll let you know where I am, and I'll text you when I leave. And that was kind of, the rest was history. I get there, and Alex ends up actually calling me because I hadn't responded that I was leaving, like, within a reasonable time. Like, hey, I got there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We just really hit it off, and we were talking, and I'm fine. I'm not abducted or, like, kidnapped or anything. But we laugh about that to this day, when we chat about it with her husband. But it was just funny, because right away then I'm like, oh, what do you do? And then she finds out that I just finished my online nutrition course, and that I'm into health and wellness, and I don't really know what my next step is. And she was a personal trainer, owned her own fitness studio, partnered with a wellness company, and she was like, oh my gosh, we have to talk about this. And this was, I don't know, the fall of 2015, like August maybe. And I ended up partnering with her with Isogenics, a wellness company, in December of 2015. My husband and I made the decision, and we met with them and some other people and talked, and ordered my first stuff, got it just before we moved into our new home in December of 2015. I remember the box coming and then having to, like, pack it all up. I unpacked it because I was so excited, and then I had to pack it all back up to move. That was December, and then literally January, which is mine and my husband's anniversary, January 13th. So, like, I ended up being gone typically for the first, few years that we were partnered in this company together, because one of their big events fell over, like, basically our anniversary time. So it was like, hi, bye, see you later. Sorry, this trumps, we'll celebrate later, kind of a thing. Or, like, he would write me a letter that I couldn't open until that day, and I read it on the plane or whatever. But we didn't have our first baby till 2017, so this was easy for me to get out and go do. And, so I met her, signed up with Isogenics, and her, we're going to do this, and, I get to know her studio and personal training, and she, I come and check it out. And then she wants to pay for me to go to that Isogenics event. She's like, hey, like, if you're serious and you're, like, gonna do this with me, like, I want to buy your first ticket for your event. We can room together, we'll fly together, all the things. And so she bought my first ticket event. Like, literally, I've not even known her that long. And I barely know who I'm traveling with. Like, I literally am traveling with people I don't really even know. So it was just wild how it all played out. But since then, again, the rest was history. We bonded over health, wellness, all things, like, food related. And my husband, he is, like, my everything. She's just the girl version. And the one that would do all the things that Alex wouldn't. Like, Alex and I are very different people. Like, so I had Sandi, who would travel with me, who would get into health and wellness things with me, who would try the latest thing, who would make delicious different kinds of food, where I have more of a Mr. Steady, who's not like passionate about the same things. So it's like, I don't want people to think that like, I don't know, he's not, like he was just as important. He's more important. But Sandi, it was a different relationship, a different energy, and a different bond that I couldn't have with my husband. It was just really awesome. So a friendship that really just turned into one there was no give and take. It was just like, if you want to, like, what's the right, like, it didn't matter. Money didn't matter. Time didn't matter. It was just the time that we got to spend together. Like, there was no, like, oh, if I did this, then she should do this. Or, like, oh, I paid for these groceries to make our meal. Like, she should do it next time. Like, there was no, like, set. That never felt the pressure or the obligation or the obligation of any sorts. It was, like, a very stress-free friendship. We dreamed together. She pushed me. She taught me things. I mean, obviously she was more learned than I was because she had more life experience because she was well older. So, like, she probably saved me from some choices that I don't know, maybe I would have made trying to figure out my way in the wellness world. But it led, we did a lot of self-development together. She was super into Tony Robbins. I wish I would have been able to go to an event with her. She loved them, and it just never worked out well. And we did it together. She did it. I was gonna do it. I mean, just again, ask our husbands. I loved her dogs. She loved my kids. We would do things business related. We would do things families related, like couples, or like when we had kids, or we could travel together. I would travel with her and her husband for events if Alex couldn't come. Alex came one time to an event for Isogenics with both Travis and her, and we both went, and I was pregnant with our first. So we traveled together. We lived a lot of life together. We went and saw live music and drank, had beer, and like it's just fun. Like we did so much. She was such a visionary. She saw things. She went after things. She was very bold. We were different in many other ways, but very similar in a lot of ways. She really encouraged me to get my personal training certification, which I did so that I could be, able to teach at her studio, which I still do, just every now and again, help fill in, but currently I'm going to be taking a break because of pregnancy and having a baby here anytime. And then, it's just spiraled from there, like continual time together. Like it never got old. I don't know how it never got old, but it was like, didn't you just see her? Yeah, but we're going to go do this now. And oh, weren't you just talking to her? But yeah, now we have this we have to talk about. And, so we had the really, really fun side of things. And then we had the really like business down to the, number crunching type things where we would, we were doing coaching programs together, and we were splitting income, and like we were really, just wanting to change lives together. And so that was ultimately the goal. And so it was just a really rich, a rich friendship that I don't always have the right words to give to it to be able to better explain it. But man, I hope that everyone could find a Sandi, because she made me better and inspired me. And there are times in life that pop up. I'm sorry. There are times in life that pop up, and you know the saying, what would Jesus do? Sometimes it only seems fitting to say, what would Sandi do? What would she do?
And to have someone that impacted you so much, to be able to have that thought come, it's pretty incredible. And so I hope, that I can leave such a mark in people's lives and continue to pursue the things that we would have done together, no matter how long it takes me to get there, because I'm afraid of experiencing it or trying it without her or whatever. So this podcast, like I've told you guys in the past, was a really big deal. I actually launched it the day before her passing last year. I didn't want to pick March 13th, but I was needing to pick a deadline or else I was just going to keep avoiding this. So I picked March 12th. So March is a really big month with this baby, my birthday, her passing, this podcast anniversary. And this is something she knew I wanted to do. I just hadn't done it. And so this was a big push and a big leap to do by myself, something without her around, without her to bounce ideas off of. We literally just supported each other's crazy ideas, or like helped each other navigate them, or like, let's do it together. Like we sometimes would just act immediately and we're like, okay, let's get to work. And partnering then with our we left Isogenics, and that was huge, and moved over to Melaleuca, and that was totally a God thing. You can listen to that episode. That was a few of them back. Just the story, how that played out. But I just want you to know the impact that you have as a friend on people, your actions and your words and your time. They matter. How you spend them with people, whether it's family or a friend, whatever. It's who you spend time with. It matters, and you can make a difference, no matter how big or small. You don't need a podcast. You don't need to change people's lives all over. It can just be in a smaller community. It can be in your church. It can be in your home. It's different for everybody, and we're all asked and called to lead different lives and roles and do different things with the talents that we're given. And gosh, this whole realm of friendship has just been given a whole new meaning to me. And it makes me hope that everyone, again, can find that. Whether that's even just in your marriage too. Like there's no right or wrong. There's no set way, but this, and I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years. Will this friendship still have the same kind of effect? I'm never going to forget her. But who knows what will transpire, and a lot of pain that comes from these kinds of things can be turned into good. And that's always something I try to focus on. Yes, allow myself to feel the pain and hurt, and don't try to rush things. I didn't at all. And there are still things I don't rush, because it's just too close to heart still. But I'm grateful for being able to still be close-knit with so many of her family that actually just understood the nature of her and my relationship, as they got to know me during those final months she was around, and they realized that I was just as important to her as all her siblings. I became important. Maybe not more, I'm not more important, but I became like family to her, even if I didn't get to meet all of her family over the years I got to know her, because she had people spread out. But it was just, it's just a neat story, and just really grateful for the time that I was given to meet this woman, and the lives that she touched. They now know me. It's wild because you have social media, and so I'm able to be connected to people that know me, that I know
through her, or they know me through her. And it's wild. It's that ripple effect. It's very much a ripple effect. And I just wanted to honor her and say thank you for being who you were. And that's all we have to do, is just be us and bring others along for the ride and see the best in people and build them up. Live, laugh, love, and be fit or healthy or whatever her saying is. Like, just live life, love a lot, laugh a lot, and, pursue health. And again, I can't go to the what ifs of how the heck this happened to someone who literally had been on an amazing health journey for so many years. She wasn't healthy her whole life. But like, how does someone get aggressive pancreatic cancer just like that? Like, I don't know. How does it manifest itself? What could she have done differently? I don't know. So I appreciate you sitting here and listening to me sniffle and cry and sob at different times, but sitting and listening to a rich story of two friends who became like sisters. And again, I literally would not be who I am right now if it were not for her. She built me up so much. She gave me so much courage and boldness that I never had. I used to be very shy, intimidated, not bold. And she taught me how to be vulnerable. I think over the years, I've just grown to be vulnerable. She introduced me to a lot of self-development things. And I forgot to note on the end, I wouldn't say she had much of a relationship with Christ. That I am a follower of Jesus. Love Jesus and God and pray to him and believe in that, and the Bible. It wasn't necessarily the heart of our relationship, but somehow God still used me because I was different. And they knew that, and they saw that, and there were things that I would choose to do that were different than what they would choose or she would choose. Or like they would come over for dinner and we would pray, or not every time, but she knew God and church and all of that was very big, and they saw that in our life. And I wouldn't say that she had that relationship with Jesus. And it's wild because she told me before we knew she was in pain and she was going to be seeing doctors. But this was like literally the beginning of January when everyone sets goals, sets intentions, all of the things. And she told me, I don't think I told you, Gabby. This is before she even knew of her cancer diagnosis. None of it. We knew nothing. No test results of any kind. She's like, I don't think I told you, Gabby, but my two big goals for this year were to grow closer to God and to grow my T3 business, her fitness studio, her health studio. And I was blown away by the first one. And I was like, what? Tell me more, And then I think that was January 2nd or 3rd or whatever, I don't know. And then the 9th is when we got the diagnosis. And to watch her journey through her trials, it was so different because she told me, Gabby, I'm not scared. I feel him right by me. I feel his arms around me. She was handing out devotionals to people. And then after she passed, her husband had thanked us. And he's like, I owe it to you. It's because of you that she wanted to pursue God in those final days, that she wanted to at all. Before she even knew she was going to have final days. She didn't even know. And so God was totally working in all those years under the surface. I was not like preaching it, blowing it in her face. None of that. I was just being me. And we were being the family that we were and pursued the things we did. And we're an example of Christ and his love And it was a beautiful testament to, like, I wasn't preaching it in her face, but yeah, there were times I'd be like, oh yeah, we don't watch that show, or we don't watch that movie, or we don't do that, or, you know, like just different things. And I think over the years, it stood out to her, the community we had built around our godly friends and family. And I wish, gosh, man. And again, then God just took it away from me. No, I'm not saying he took it away, but man, do I wish I knew what our friendship would have been like if we would have had a little bit more of that time to pursue Jesus together, what she wanted, what was she interested in learning about, and what did she, you know, like, I didn't have any of that. But I am so thankful that she had his peace in her final days. Like, that overwhelms me with so much. Oh, I don't even know. I don't have the words, but I'm just grateful, and I know where she is. And I'm so grateful that she felt that peace in the moments of her hardest moments. And for her to tell me that when I'm like, have fear in my eyes, and she's like, I'm not scared. And I'm like, what? So I needed to end that with that was just a beautiful, I guess, end to knowing fully that full circle recap of our friendship, that the influence that I had led her to knowing Jesus and wanting that on her own. I didn't do anything else. I didn't push. I didn't have to have that conversation, because she chose it before I would have asked the question. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I need to go wipe all my boogers and refresh my makeup. We'll blame it on some pregnancy hormones here too. But I appreciate every one of you. If you've lost anyone, please know that I feel for you, and just give yourself grace. Allow yourself to remember. Journal your emotions out. But as hard as this was, I was looking forward to being able to pay tribute to a friendship that had no end, with all the giving that there was of. But even watching my kid, my son Winston, when I went into labor with my second, with Titus, we called them and they came and picked up Winston, and they had him, sleeping over at our house. Coffee anytime. I feel like my car still wants to go off the freeway every time I pass her house to go over there. I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to run over to Sandy's quick. Oh, I'm just going to drop this off. Oh, do you want to stay for this? Yeah, sure. No problem. I got a few minutes. Oh, Alex, I'm going to be late. I'm over at Sandy's. Going on runs, doing races together, endless shopping for healthy food and cooking delicious meals, endless workouts. Yeah. Traveling, sleepovers. Like, I've slept at her house with my son before. It's wild. Just, it never felt hard to be her friend. It just felt like we were both open books and willing to be there for each other, supporting each other through the ups and the downs, and encourage each other and cheer each other along in each of our pursuits and passions, or just do it together so that we could do it well and capitalize on both of our strengths. So, in honor of Sandi. So thank you, everyone, and I look forward to chatting with you again on the next episode and bringing you another health tip of the week. So be blessed, my friends. Go out there and make a difference in those people that are around you every day. All right. Talk to you soon.